Okay. Next speaker is Nguyen To An. Title of his presentation, Intravascular Imaging, the Key to the Unlocking PCI in a Calcified Coronary Region.
Good morning, everyone. I'm grateful for the opportunity to give this talk. 20 minutes is my job to share with you an important topic in the contemporary, the interventional cardiology, intravascular imaging, the 7 cases to unlock the PCI in the calcified lesion. I think that all of you are very familiar with the PCI. Perform PCI just only the coronary angiography only. But actually, all we know that the angiography, the trying to assess the calcium is like the trying to just erupt by its shadow. So it's I think it's not very reliable. So I wonder how many of you the trust angiogram before you trust your imaging. Look at the slide. We see the after we have the IVUS and OCT results. We are very familiar with the calcium score from the IVUS OCT. We have the rules of 5, and also all we know is have the high risk score is need that the predictor also stand under expansion, and we need the more the specific defined for the calcium modification before the stenting. I think that traditionally, many of us rely on the rules of 5 for OCT to predict the possible stent under expansion. But actually, recent data from the Sato and on track 2025 demonstrate that the rules of 3 on OCT, and also we see that it's more the superior than the rules of 5 to predict the stent under expansion. And also the high calcium score is the 2 or 3 is we need the calcium modification by the special device. The next is the major message I want to highlight onto you. It's not all the calcification are the same. We can see on the screen that there are also a lot of variety of the calcium score of type of the calcium lesion. From the thick and concentric, the calcified lesion, from the calcium nodal, or from the disrupt, the superficial, onto calcium nodal, non-eruptive and eruptive. And I think that calcium can appear the multiple the morphology, but it is different the clinical and the mechanism, the implication. For example, we can see the thick concentric calcium is impose a maximum the rigidity and resistance to expansion. But actually, we can see the superficial, the calcification. We can make it in the coronary ACS, coronary acute syndrome. Calcium nodal is present a challenge due to the irregular protrusion into the lumen, and also automaticity, the calcified protrusion, and eruptive, the calcified nodal. So we understanding the phenotype is crucial, because every device that respond different dramatically across the morphology. And now we next to the stepwise approach to how to manage the severe calcified lesion. So it tries to divide. At first, we also divide. We simplify the in clinical practice. We also simplify the lesion into the crossable lesion and uncrossable lesion. If we met with the uncrossable lesion, rota first. But actually, after rota success, you have to turn back to the IVI. And so, based on the IVI results, we choose the characteristic, and we choose the device based on the characteristic we have. For example, if the mild to moderate the calcification, you can choose the NC balloon, the OPN balloon, cutting balloon, scoring balloon we can resolve the problem. But actually, if the severe calcification, deep calcification, we need the IVL or nodular calcification, the atherectomy. or especially some of the bifurcation or something ostium the calcified lesion, orbital atherectomy, or we use IVL is the best. And after that, after we do the after we use the multiplication device like this, how can we know? How can we know that it's worked well? Once again, we need the IVI. IVI is also that if the initial result is suboptimal, once again, we have to use buy out the escalation and assess again. So it means that the IVI is very crucial for the treating the calcified lesion. So how to evaluate the effective the calcified lesion and modification on IVI? We can see that on two things is very important. The first is the accepted lumen gain, and the second is the evidence of calcified fracture, the OCT and IVUS. We also had the detailed criteria for the depend on the use of IVUS OCT. Not only we use IVUS OCT, it's also based on the device modification you use. For example, if we use the NC balloon, cutting balloon, we also based on the intimal or the calcified fracture is the good indicator for the good preparation for the lesion. But actually, if you use the IVL, we need to have the three criteria. First is the calcium fracture. Second is the intimal tear, and the third is the calcium debonding. And the three goes the indicator for the lesion reparation for the calcified lesion. But if we use the rotablator and you use the IVUS, at that time we have the reverbation and also trick question. How many reverbation in IVUS do you consider enough? Yeah, trick question. It depends on your frame. And so the number of reverbation, the length, and also the angle is decided. A good indicator for the lesion preparation is good. And next, in some case, the single technique is not insufficient, particularly extremely the calcified or mixed morphology lesion. So in situation, frequently or combined approach is needed. We may combine rotatractomy followed by lipotrophy is where we call it the rotatripsy, or we can use the high pressure balloon, the boss atherectomy, or we use cutting balloon plus IVI. I think it's it's flexible, depend on the situation you have, and you will choose case by case which one is the best for lesion preparation. And also, occasionally, after deploying the eluting stent, we find that the stent under expansion because the deep calcium. It look like the unfinished your unfinished homework. So it will come back to you. So at the time, in this case, intravascular lithotripsy has emerged as the safe and effective solution. And also finally, so what we do when stent just like the summarize the European consensus on 2024, which emphasize the IVI guide the treatment pathway for the calcified lesion. So IVI guides for calcium lesion PCI is not an option. Now it's central in determining calcium severity, selecting the device, confirming the success of the lesion reparation, is guiding the stents, the deployment, and then finally evaluating both the procedure results. So we are in the areas of IVI guide BCI, like the slogan, "Seeing is believing." Thanks for your attention.
Thank you.